Benny was the first to see the carved wooden sign. It read, Snow Haven Lodge.
"We're here!"
he exclaimed. Mr. Alden turned the station wagon into the long driveway. Snowflakes danced in the headlights. "And not a moment too soon," he said. "With all this snow, driving will be impossible before too long." Violet glanced out her window. The branches of the evergreens were already heavy with snow. The ground below was covered in a soft blanket of white.
"It's so beautiful,"
she said. "And so quiet," Jessie said. "What's that up ahead, Grandfather?" Henry asked. He pointed toward a long, low building. Its lights cast a warm glow through the gathering dusk. "Must be the lodge," Mr. Alden told him. "Is that where we'll stay?" Jessie asked. "I imagine so," Mr. Alden answered.
"I'd rather stay in one of those,"
Benny said. He pointed to a group of small cabins on their right. Grandfather stopped the car in front of the lodge. Several other cars were parked there. Watch sat up and wagged his short tail. They climbed out of the station wagon and headed inside. A fire blazed in the large stone fireplace. Big, comfortable couches and chairs were grouped on the wood floor. Here and there, small clusters of people talked and laughed. "James!" A tall, thin man stepped out from behind a counter and came toward them. Mr. Alden grabbed the man's hand. "Todd, it's good to see you." Todd Mercer smiled. "I'm glad you made it before the storm," he said.
"So are we,"
Benny piped up. "This must be the famous Benny," Mr. Mercer said. Benny blushed. He'd never been called famous before. It made him speechless. Mr. Alden introduced his other grandchildren and Watch, who had followed them inside. "I hope it's all right for our dog to be inside the lodge. He's very well behaved," said Mr. Alden. "Fine with me," Mr. Mercer said. The door opened and a gust of snow blew in. A man and woman dressed in ski suits rushed inside. A rosy-cheeked boy about Henry's age tagged along after them. "James, why don't you sign in?" Mr. Mercer said to Mr. Alden. He turned to the children. "Help yourselves to the hot chocolate and snacks on that table over there." He pointed toward the windows. Benny's eyes widened when he saw the table covered with plates of cookies and small sandwiches and a large steaming pot of hot chocolate.
"What a sight!"
he said. Jessie looked out the windows. Children skated on the pond behind the lodge. Snow fell all around them.
"It looks like a picture in a storybook," she said.
"Better," Benny said.
"You can't eat pictures."
He helped himself to a cookie. Violet laughed.
"Oh, Benny,"
she said.
"Jessie was talking about the view."
Benny glanced out the window.
"That's nice too, but—"
"You can't eat it," Henry finished. They carried their snacks to the couch. Mr. Mercer brought over the young boy who'd just arrived. "I want you to meet Jimmy Phelps," he said. "He's been with us every winter vacation since he was no bigger than you, Benny." Jimmy smiled shyly. "Hi," he said. Henry moved over. "Sit down here," he said. "There's plenty of room."
"Get some food first,"
Benny suggested.
"It's delicious."
Jimmy nodded. "Okay," he said. "And I have to sign in." He went to the high desk and signed the guest book. Jimmy's parents and Mr. Mercer were talking to Grandfather.
"I wonder if Mr. and Mrs. Phelps are staying here too,"
Jessie said. "Why wouldn't they?" Henry asked. Jessie shrugged.
"Mr. Mercer said Jimmy's been here every winter. He didn't say anything about his parents."